Hello again. Welcome to another video. This one about low self-esteem and confidence. As a counsellor and psychotherapist, I very often get asked about how to build self-esteem, how to build confidence, how to create better feelings within oneself. And so that's what this video is about. Sometimes it's very difficult to get beyond family interjections and early insights that they've given to you. It might be that you come from a family who used to put you down, so you've got to be very careful who you ask for feedback and who you rely on to give you feedback into self-esteem. Obviously the best self-esteem comes from within. And so if you know that you're doing the right thing and that you're on the right path, you're on the right road with your life, then you don't need anyone else's feedback. But a lot of us do help others, or we think we're helping others by giving them feedback, and many of us take their feedback as well, and it's not always a good idea. It's very much the British way to put people down in a jokey manner, so anyone who's getting so-called above their station, they get put down in a jokey way. So I remember the first time I bought arguably a nice car. It was the nicest car I'd ever had, a Mercedes, and someone said, oh Anthony, you don't suit posh cars. And then someone else said, oh, it's a drugs dealer's car. So what these people do, it's like a sort of, it's a bit jokey, you know, but I mean, the fact that I don't suit posh cars is the person's actually saying the car is too good for you. You're a peasant and a pauper. You would suit a donkey or something like that. So yeah, so you've got to be careful of people like that, because these people just drag you down in the end, and they do it in a jokey way. So if you take offence, they say something like, oh, I didn't mean it, oh, don't be so sensitive, I was only joking, you know. So, but the thing's been said, and as the old saying goes, many a true word is spoke in jest. It's the same thing with the question, the evergreen question, does my bum look big in this? Women ask that question, usually women I guess, ask that question hoping for some positive feedback, hoping to be told, no, you look great, and then very often they get the answer, yeah, it does look big, you look terrible. I mean, the bum's changed recently anyway because of the Kardashian effect, but generally speaking, nobody particularly wants to look fat. So you've got to be careful who you ask, because you might hear something that you don't want to hear. And families are very good at this. I remember asking for a critique of a book that I wrote a few years ago called Broken Britain, and I asked for a critique of that, and what I got back was excoriating feedback, which, if I'd not been a stronger person, would have meant that I could write nothing again for the rest of my life. So again, you've got to be careful who you ask, and if you're going to ask for feedback, be prepared, especially if it's from family, be prepared to be annihilated, unless you've got one of those families that will support you and say nice things all the time. If you haven't got a family that support you and say nice things all the time, then you're probably better off saying it to yourself. You've got to look in the mirror sometimes and say, I'm okay, and I'm not bothered what anyone else thinks, I'm going to do it. I've got the perseverance to go with this and get on with it and do it because I want to do it. Obviously better looking in the mirror than asking a bunch of idiots, because if the feedback that you're going to get is going to ruin your confidence, then don't bother asking for it. And you know who these people are anyway. They, like I say they mean well, and then quite often all they're doing is using it as an opportunity to put you down. So be careful about those if you want to build self-confidence. In an earlier life than this, which can be seen in my second book, which is called Anxiety, Addiction and Me by Anthony King. In my second book, I talk about how we can solve our inner angst and how we can ameliorate the wounds that have been cast upon us by sometimes well-meaning people, but very often by people who don't mean well at all. In an earlier life than this, in business, I knew nobody who could help with anything, and that's quite a problem, really. And similarly, when I had my first mental health problems, which were to do with anxiety and intrusive thoughts that often accompany anxiety, when I first had those, I knew nobody who knew what they were. You could see people when I tried to broach the subject with people. People were thinking, is he mad? Is he off his rocker? So, like in business, I knew nobody who could help. In my family, I knew no one who could promote anything. And similarly, when I had my problems, I knew nobody who could help or knew what it was. In other words, I think what I'm saying is nobody I knew had any knowledge whatsoever, almost about anything. I mean, they knew their own thing. They knew how to get by in life and how to, buy a bottle of milk and go to a bus stop, but they didn't know anything, knowledge about business or mental health or how to promote someone or how to make things better. So similarly, if someone's saying, does my bum look big in this? What merit is there in saying to them, yeah, you're fat, you're a fat pig? There's no merit in that. And people sometimes want just good feedback. They're not asking for the truth, they're asking for support. Similarly, whatever you do, it can be like that. So I used to troll before the internet, and thank God for Google. I used to troll Reader's Digest books and things like that, looking for answers to my own anxiety problems, and answers came there none, because it was difficult to find something about intrusive thoughts, and so nobody helped. Everybody was useless, basically. So if you want to build self-esteem, the purpose of this is to try and find something within. Try and find something on the internet. There are lots of forums these days. If you're having panic attacks or anxiety, there's a great website called nomorepanic.co.uk. The writings of Claire Weekes are absolutely brilliant in terms of anxiety. On YouTube, there's a guy called David Daish, which is D-A-I-S-H. He's a brilliant talker on anxiety. And of course my own videos. If you get any comfort from those, then great. So you can do your own self-affirmations as well. So they can be found in how to do those can be found in the books of people like Anthony Robbins. He's great at all that, if you like motivational stuff, but I think you've got to find your own answers in at the end of the day. Be careful who you ask, and be careful who you believe, because even people who are giving their opinions, they don't have to be right. They're just opinions after all. So you might find that the best source of wisdom comes from you, because at the end of the day, you know what you want, and you might be the best person to give it to you. So, how to build self-confidence. The other thing is action. What you need to do is act. So you experience the feelings sometimes and act. So if you're having, say, intrusive thoughts that I mentioned earlier, you've got to actually act and get something done for yourself and try and find out what's at the root of it. It's very commonly anxiety. It can be low blood sugar level, like hypoglycemia, or it can be a vestibular problem. So you needn't always fear the worst, and GPs are very good with finding solutions, of course. So to build confidence, action is the key. You can feel your symptoms and then still keep acting, still keep living, because none of us know when this life is going to end. So until the next time, thanks for watching again.